All right, welcome to this reteaching session for our puppies page. So if you've been absent and you kind of got behind on this, I wanted to take time to help you get caught up. So where we should be at this point is you should have a page that has a heading banner, and this is the heading banner where it says puppy page here, and it should be responsive. That means that as you do this, it gets bigger and smaller. And that's done by utilizing an inline style set to max width of 100%. Then you should have a picture next to a paragraph. Your picture should be floated, which is another style, to the left or right of the paragraph. You're going to have an HR and another paragraph. You're not typing any of that. It's all copy-paste. An HR, an H3, reasons to get puppies, a plain old bulleted UL list, and an HR, and then a centered 150 pixel image. And to center an image, you put the image in a paragraph and you center the paragraph. Now, prior to all of that we added in, we had to set up the initial document. And that's what I have here on my screen. And I want you to have yours pulled up. I'm hoping you have this pulled up on your Chromebook and then Replit on your computer. So you can listen to me and look at your computer screen. So all the stuff should be good at the top. The only reason anything might not work, if your style sheet isn't working, is because you have an error on line 7 or wherever your styles page is. So do make sure you're pointed to your style. That style sheet is not spelled wrong, and you should be good to go. So we're really going to be focusing on the body section. So in the body, what we should have is, when you started on this, an ID called box, and that's opened and closed, and it's holding 3 drawers, so to speak. So think like drawers of socks and underwear and shirts. There's a header drawer, that's your sock drawer. There's a main drawer, that's where all the t-shirts are. There's a footer drawer. I guess that actually should be where the socks are. Either way, that's what we're talking about. Let's look at it with regards to a visual aid here. So, like if this is your whole page, we've got the body going on everywhere. But on the body, we have this box. And this box is your div. Okay, now turn off that div before we turn off the body. Okay? And then inside the box is going to be the header, the main, and the footer. So that's what these boxes are. So think the div, and then you got 3 drawers. And you're going to put all your stuff in their proper drawers, so to speak. So make sure, one of the biggest problems is people turn off their div before they put all the drawers in there. Well, turn off the div. The last 3 tags of this document are going to be turn off div, turn off body, turn off HTML. That's the order. Okay, so what you should have at this point is your div with an ID of box, header, main, footer, and in your footer, a paragraph. And that paragraph should have copyright stuff. Also, we styled our body just to have bigger words. That's font size. And then we styled the header and the footer to be centered so that your copyright stuff will be centered. And then some sort of background color just so you can see it. That's basically that. And then your div box, it needs some sort of background color too. It could be white even. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So that's basically what you're going to start with. And when you don't have anything on the page, you really can't see much of anything. So now I don't have this as my main page, so I'm going to have to go to my secondary index copy page, if I can get it to go here. Let me find out what I saved it as. Let's call it not that. We'll call it index 2. Okay. So you won't have this. I have my original and I didn't want to have to redo everything. So, okay. So I'm going to come up here. This will be my index2.html. So when we look at this one, it doesn't look like there's anything there. And that's because we haven't styled the box. We haven't told the box what to look like. And we don't have anything in the header. And if you don't have anything in the header, nothing shows up. This all looks messed up. So some people think they're messed up in the beginning when you're not. You just haven't done everything that you need to do yet. Okay, so in here, I've got my header. What you were supposed to do in class today was to put your banner. Your banner was this thing that we made in Canva. It should look something like this. You're going to call it P heading. You can type that in up here, and you hit download. PNG is good, and then you hit download, and then you drag that file into your Replit. So basically all you have to do is drag it into your images folder. So I don't have it in here to pull up, but if I did, I would open up my web design folder, and then I would just drag and drop. So whatever I'm dropping, just drag it and drop it right in here into images. That's how you get it there. Puppies heading, drag it and drop it in there. All right, then you have to put this one in. Remember, images always go inside a paragraph. So the first thing you need to do is put in the paragraph, excuse me. Okay, and then image tag has two requirements, IMG space SRC equals. That's going to be the path to the image. So it's in a folder, so images slash, and then it's my heading. I have to look over there and see what it's called. Now I can change the name of what it's called, but you cannot change the .png or JPG or whatever. Okay. All right. Now alt is the second thing. That's just a description. I'll just say heading banner. And that's it. That's all that I absolutely have to have there, except when I run that and look at it, okay, so there it is, that once I go in here and I make my box not go all the way across, that's going to pop out of it. So back in your CSS, last time we said to make the box have a width, because if it's 100%, then you can't tell what's happening, okay? So when I say 80%, see now we're at that. I'm just showing you each step here. All right, then we're going to center it. That's margin auto, and you should have this hopefully in your notes. If not, take a pause and write it down. See, now it's in the middle. Okay, and then finally, if we were looking at it on a smaller view, that top part would pop out. So let me show you here. See how that's popping out of the box? So to fix that, we're going to make it responsive. And so we're going to go to that image, that specific image, and we're going to put in a style attribute. Okay, and for this style attribute, we're going to say max width of 100%, which means don't fall out of the box. Okay, and so when I do that now, if I refresh and I come down, notice it's stretching with the box, but it won't stretch bigger than it really is. Okay. So that was the first part that we did, and we did this prior to this first class period. So we've got that going in there. And you could have also put in a border if you wanted to, but you didn't have to. All right, so next up, back to our index page, you were supposed to add your puppy, and your puppy goes in the main. Again, we start with a paragraph, and then your image goes in the paragraph. So IMG space SRC equals and alt equals are going to go there, and then sometimes style equals. And I would just get in the habit of throwing all three of those in there before you put anything in there, because that's the easiest way. So now, before you go any further, I want you to compare your code with mine and make sure you've got everything in there. That div, body, and HTML are those last three, okay, that you have right after you open your body. You have the div ID, and then you have the header, you have the main, and you have the footer, and you're going to put stuff into their proper drawers. So the top drawer has the heading banner. The bottom drawer has a paragraph for your footer text. The middle drawer, the main, is going to be a picture of a puppy. So your 250 puppy is the one that you would want to use here. I'm going to say images slash, mine is called 250dog.jpg. Alt will be a description, puppy pic. And then you were supposed to go out to this other web page and just grab some paragraphs. So puppy facts, I'm going out here. I'm just going to grab me. I get it to come up. I love the school's Google business. It's a mental floss. Honestly, I don't care. You go anywhere you want to grab a paragraph, to be perfectly honest. Don't care. Okay, so triple click, Control C, and I'm going to paste this paragraph in here. All right, now without a style on this, and make sure your paragraph's turned off. Without a style on this is what it's going to look like. It's going to treat your puppy like a letter. That means we need to float the puppy so he goes to the side of the paragraph. So that's the style, okay? It's just float. And then left or right. I don't care. Pick one, okay? So SRC, alt, and style. Get in the habit of putting all three in there. Then if you need the style, type stuff in it. If you don't, it doesn't going to hurt anything as long as you have quotation marks there. Okay, so once I run it, now it's going to be up next to it. But notice now my footer runs into my picture. And that's because when you float something, it no longer obeys the blocks. So it's not letting the footer be a block underneath it. We talked in class about how you can style your footer. So again, style equals, and then in quotation marks, I'm going to put clear both. And that tells the footer, hey, clear down until you're below the picture. Until you're below whatever's floating is what it's actually doing. There. See, now my footer is going underneath. In the class, we talked about how for the next part, you're going to be just basically setting up this whole page here. So you have the first paragraph and you have these puppies floating over here. And I do put in the instructions to make sure, again, that your floating dog image is by that paragraph, right? And that you cleared the element because we don't want it to pop out. Okay, you're also supposed to download the pattern and the icon. All right, so we're in here, got another paragraph. I'm going to add a horizontal rule in another paragraph and a horizontal rule in a list. We're just popping all of these pieces in here. Probably at this point, you're not going to have any trouble figuring out what to do next. But just in case, I'm copying, coming down here. We're still in the main, okay? All of these paragraphs are going to go in the main. So I'm going to say P, and I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to turn it off. And again, we want HRs between each of these, okay? Between every one of these little sections, we're going to have HRs, okay? Then you're going to have a heading 3, and it's like, I don't know, something about reasons. You can go back and see what exactly it is. And then you're going to have your list. Remember, it's an unordered list, so put in the beginning and the end of the list, and then your list items. They're cute, okay? And you're going to have multiple list items, but that's the general gist of it, okay? Now, let's go over and take a look at it. There we go. But now notice these HRs are running into that puppy, just like the footer was. That means we need to clear it. Your best bet would be to go to your style page and just clear all HRs. That way, no HRs can bump into anything. So again, it's clear, both. All right, and now, there we go. Now the HR goes under the picture. Here's my next paragraph, HR, my heading, my list, only you'll have 3 items. You're going to have another HR. So back to this. Another HR. We're still in the main, remember? Okay, and then here's going to be another picture. So again, a picture goes in a paragraph. So you're going to put in paragraph tags first. Then your normal picture. What's the 3 parts I told you? We're going to do IMG space. SRC equals, put in your quotation marks. Alt equals, put in your quotation marks. Style equals, put in your quotation marks. Even if you don't need the style, that won't hurt anything, as long as both quotation marks are in there. Okay, then you're going to add in your picture that you're going to center. This is your 150 puppy. So puppy 150. Now I have to tell it it's in a folder. So images slash, you got to put the slash, puppy 150 dot, and then whatever it says, JPEG or whatever here. This was my fat puppy. Okay, and nothing really that I need for style on this one, but this puppy is supposed to be centered. He's not centered. You cannot float something to the center. So to center a puppy, we have to center the block element because images are not block elements, okay? So how do we center it? We center the paragraph holding the puppy. So put in a style attribute. Remember that style equals and then a set of quotation marks. And then that normal text align. You know how to do that. Text align, center. All right, I'm going to hit run. And there we go. And this is where you should be at this point. You probably are going to want to add, just for your big O box, a color, just so you can see it. I have mine set to white. And then your background image that you should have added in. And again, you should have this on your notes page. So when you filled out your notes page, and let's pop back over to the this. When you filled out your notes page, you should have put the code for a background image and for a list image. Okay, here's your background image code. Background dash image URL, open parentheses, and then you put in the path to your image. So let me do that. Background image URL, open and close parentheses. Inside here, your puppy pattern. So images folder slash puppy pattern. Again, you have to have the dot whatever. Okay, run. And now we'll be able to see that white background because we have that pattern all around it. And that's looking pretty good. But this is where you should be at this point. And that took me 15 minutes just walking through it. So, advisory mod is 30 minutes. You should have ample time to get yours where it needs to be. If something isn't working, holler at me. And if you're not understanding, please go back and watch again and make notes. But I want you to do well, and I need you to do your best to try.